Hey there, beloved Ascension Pioneers. Yesterday was a full moon, the 9th of January, and it was a very intense shift, and I'm wondering how you all felt it. I hope you had a lovely shift and transition into the new, because it was a huge phoenix cycle, like a new rebirth, something new being born, something old falling away as usual. So I was hiking in the snowy mountains again yesterday, and even before that, I got guidance to do another light activation meditation with the assistance of my beloved mountains, of course. And this is something that I'm guided to do, especially because there's still so much conflict and unresolved within the people that now talk about peace on earth. But first, as we know, everything comes from within, so that peace comes from within. And this is a light activation I would like to do, first of all, because the previous one was so successful and I got such amazing feedback from all of you. And it had many views on YouTube. And secondly, because I feel this is a part of what I do. This is something that I really feel strongly urged to do. And this one I would like to contribute in the name of letting go and moving further into our I am, because within our purity, we're shifting towards that inner connection, the peace, inner peace with our inner God. And this is done through purity, and purity is reached through our I am presence. And in order for us to have peace on earth, that means to be aligned with everyone and everything here and within this creation, on this plane and everywhere else, like horizontally. First, we have to be aligned with everything vertically. That means being connected to our I am presence, to be aligned with everything, with all that is horizontally, because this is all one, and you cannot have one without the other. So my shift during this full moon, let me now first say a few words about this, was very intense. Usually I'm very guided to do a lot of service work, to share a lot, but sometimes, there's a great balance needed within this process. What I do, for instance, with all of us, of course, what we all do in our own way. But for me, I have to deal sometimes with a lot of people, giving me feedback, commenting, sharing, wanting to share things with me. And sometimes this gets too much because, as I say, if I want to be aligned like the rest of us horizontally, I need to first be realigned vertically. So that means that I am not to lose myself within other energies, other people, and their thoughts and their innuendos and their thoughts and their beliefs. And this doesn't have to affect who I am. For instance, what happens to me a lot is a lot of the people are very guided to come and talk to me, but as I say, I need this hermit phase of being alone so I can do all that what I do now, because this doesn't come from a pure place if I don't seek that vertical connection. So yesterday when I went hiking again, I finally shifted back because I felt very intense, in letting go of the old during this full moon cycle. And it is a cycle, it's not a one-day event. It's not a date. And it is a very gradual process. Like everything within this shift is a gradual process. So for me, ever since the New Year's Eve and a bit prior to that, and this whole week, the first week of January, was very, very intense. And this full moon was in the sign of Cancer, and this is in a water sign, and it has to do with our emotions. So that actually means that a lot of the emotional things that we're having to deal with, who we are and who we no longer are, were coming back up to surface. But it depends, of the people, how they are within their work with their self, as to how that is presented to them. For instance, if you're a person who knows that everything is unfolding within you, so therefore it's also unfolding around you, so you're always dealing with things in your inner space within. And that's a good thing, because many people still don't understand that what they're experiencing and feeling doesn't necessarily have to be the higher truth. For instance, when they judge another, when they want to exchange opinions with another, really share what they feel, their feelings, the thing is, we have to learn how to first become, as I say, aligned vertically, so we can be in all of our relationships that mirror us aligned horizontally. So therefore, all that we feel, we need to integrate within ourselves. We need to have a conversation with our own self. We need to deal with that in the inner. Because as long as we still project it in the outer, we won't understand it in the deepest sense of what it means for us, for our being. For instance, this was happening to me a lot last week, sometimes people, because I have to deal with a lot of people. I am just there publicly, and when you expose yourself publicly, you have that effect on people, and you're sort of like this mirror, a target for many of the opinions and so on. So energetically, we are like all those of us who expose each other in a more grand kind of way. We have that feedback sometimes that it's not very pleasant as well, because as I say, people don't always know how to balance that within themselves and deal with those things that they're feeling, because of course we're all shifting in their own self space, so they might react on others first. So this is why I'm guided to do this activation as well, for us to quicker and easier move into that space of how we are truly to deal with that, how we are truly growing and evolving within light of who we are. So the thing is, for me, last week, it was a lot of those asking me a question and then not liking what I respond. First of all, if people ask, they need to know that the response that they might get from someone else might not necessarily match what they want to hear, because people don't always hear what they would like to hear. And it's not about us wanting to hear what we like to hear, but just be neutral to all that we are hearing and all that is being presented to us through spirit within every single thing unfolding in our lives. So first is that, it has to be taken into consideration. And secondly, we have to understand that whenever we judge someone, whether what response they give us, we need to understand that if we see judgment in them, we're only projecting our own judgment. There's a difference between truly being neutral, and when you're neutral, you're very discerning, you're open to your pure spirit channel, and you do see everyone, whether they judge you, whether they push you, you do see that through a neutrality space of Christ consciousness. But if you're not, if you feel emotions, emotions show you a state that is very reactive, not responsive, and that means that you don't see clearly. So you have to go within and see and deal with yourself, integrate those things that are coming up to the surface within you, not, jumping or barking and, like people do that sometimes. They bark at one another instead of just, inhaling all of that within and then seeing things as they truly are, because we cannot see them as they truly are if we're not within that inner space of neutrality. And sometimes people might think that they are there, but they're not. And we have to be really honest with ourselves, see our emotional entanglements and attachments. And, if it's not coming from a neutral state, you'll always be like, oh, or need to tell someone something, like, oh, I need to tell this person what I feel, that's not the higher space of love. And sometimes people are very overreactive over that space. Eckhart Tolle calls that that wounded part of us, that wounded core that we're carrying, with ourselves, for eons and eons of time. And it is not dissolved yet into that beautiful, perfect space of purity and neutrality. So what people do, sometimes they react out of that core, push it outwards, attack someone else, when in fact it is their own projection. Or for instance, my mom told me this week that her friend told her something, oh, then you're going to have that happen and that happen. And I just said, well, she was just, you have to see it how it is, because she was just, she was describing her own fears, what she's feeling. And that means to project it into someone else's life, into their story. And they're not your story, not even you are your story. So this is the thing of how relationships are sometimes, when people still don't know that whatever they feel, they need to go through it in their own inner sacred space. Like, for instance, I have it here, and this is my pondering space. This is my meditative space. And you need to do a lot of pondering on your own. I got a lot of those reaction kind of responses from people that are not coming from that higher state. And I get a lot of the accusations sometimes as well. But of course, mostly I get responses that are very beautiful. It's still most of them. But sometimes when they're not coming from that space, I will just see it as it is. I will just let it go. And I'll see it also as my own lesson, to not respond so much to their questions because people ask me many things. And I'm not here to share my opinions or beliefs or whatever. I'm here to share my journey, and that's what I say to people every single time. For instance, I had this week someone said to me, well, you're a teacher, you should you should watch how you act in front of others. And I said, no, I don't consider myself as anyone's teacher, but others do have the right to recognize me as such if they want to. This is their own right and personal freedom space. And you don't have to if you don't want to. You know, we're living in a free world, so you can see whoever you want to see, you can observe whoever you want to observe, you can do whatever you want to do. It's a free will decision kind of world. So if you don't like what you see, you don't have to be judgmental about it. Just go within, see why this is bothering you, and don't jump to conclusions for another. So, as I say, only others can recognize you as a teacher. I'm only here to share my journey. And this is a light activation and meditation right now I would like to do with all of you together, because this is a part of my journey. And all those of you who feel it and resonate with it will share this journey space with me as well. So here's the thing. I heard once a very beautiful kind of like a saying that if you squeeze an orange, you know, what do you get out of it? Well, you get orange juice, right? So what that means is wherever the juice is coming from, it is a part of that essence. So juice is coming from the orange. So if you feel, this person has judged me, this person has done me wrong, they don't want to give me my own right here, and well, this is coming from you, from your space. So you have to be the one to return to your own core and see why this is happening, why you're feeling the way you're feeling. No one else can do it for you. You know, no one else will give you the benefit of the, you know, the rights or the doubt or whatever you may call it. Oh, please, let me have right in this situation. First of all, there is no right and wrong in the universal divine love, Christed consciousness. There is no right and wrong. There's just the vertical alignment that causes the alignment with all that is, horizontally. And it's actually, when you merge both together, it's a web, never-ending gossamer's web. And this is how it is. So when you have and find that space, that inner tranquility and peace with your own inner God, you will see and feel that you no longer do that. You no longer project to others. You no longer react, blame others, judge them. You will just see that everything is flowing the way it is, and you will just want to live your life peacefully. And whenever others will do that to you, well, you are in that peace. You will see that that's just a challenge for you to grow even deeper in your discernment, in your peace, in your tranquility, and your faith will be forever increasing every single moment, because we are being rebirthed and reborn every single now moment. And here's also the thing. This is what I also heard this week. You know, things coming to me at the right time. Someone saying somewhere, well, people usually judge what they don't know. For instance, you just hear one part, one fraction of the thing or the story or an event, and oh, this is it, this is the whole truth, and then you judge it. But what causes this to be judged? Like I say, that Eckhart Tolle, what he calls this wounded part. This part, this core, that is not our authentic core, that is just like a smudged diamond, you know, because in essence, we are all a shining diamond. So when this is smudged, we carry this, you know, tincture with us for a long time, when we carry it from the past, and as long as we still consider this as our past, we react from that state. We don't react from this pure gossamer's web of now. We react to what we have known, or what we think we know, but this is not what we actually know, because knowingness comes from a place when we actually see that we don't know anything, and only then we can open ourselves to the higher mind, to the vertical alignment with our inner God, deep mind of God, not the lower ego mind that jumps to conclusions, makes assumptions, and judges, and wants to criticize. Because when we criticize, we actually have that within us, self-criticism. When we blame another, we have self-blame issues. When we can't love, we can't love ourselves. This is always like this, because we are each that beacon of light that projects everything as it is in the outer. For me, I see only love, because I say everything is a seed of love. Even if we don't always see it in this 3D reality, it is always a seed of love. Everything is a seed of love. It's just, there's no opposite to love. There's just different manifestations to it, as I have said in one of my videos, and this is the truth of how it is. So whatever someone does, even if it's You might say, oh, so judgment is bad. Well, no, because they're learning from it. If you can remain neutral while you're being judged by another, then that's good for you, because you will see that you no longer say bad, good. You will see everyone as to how they truly are within their own growth cycles. And this is how we can actually help one another to support each other. We don't always have to support each other. When people say to me sometimes, oh, compassion is, you have to be more compassionate in your words. Well, I will be as much as compassionate as it will be allowed to me as to how it is flowing within that moment and how I need to state my truth at that given moment. And not all truth looks like a piece of candy, all beautiful and glittery. Sometimes truth can be a bit painful for people who don't want to hear it, and they then confuse that with compassion, with the lack of it. It's not how it is, because compassion doesn't mean that this is something that is, oh, it's all good. Oh, this is compassion, that I have to jump into another person's state of feeling. No, I can see their point of view and the place that they're coming from that higher truth and the earthly truth. But compassion is holding that neutral space for everyone, while you yourself have to be in that first. You have to embody it. You cannot preach it. So within all that I have said right now, rather a lot, I'm sorry again, but I get carried away sometimes. I would like to now start sharing my beautiful light activation. And this is kind of like a letting go activation for all those of us who are shifting through such intense energies. And there's a lot of us, and we're paving the way for others. And you have to understand, if you sometimes find yourself asking yourself, like, why so fast? Why so suddenly? Why so much at the same time? I do that sometimes, but because your soul has decided to do those fast leaps and jumps, because you are a forerunner. That's how it is, and you do everything within a high kind of frequency pace. That's how you decide to do it, and we're all doing it in our own beautiful way. So it doesn't matter. It just matters that you recognize your own way and see it as such. So I'm holding in my left hand, the receptive hand, my beautiful twin flame crystal, which is always helping me to stay connected with my deep core, my essence, because we all have a diamond twin flame heart, each and every one of us, no matter how smudged it is. And in the other hand, I'm carrying my own mountain crystals from Slovene mountains, which are going to share their energy with all of us as well right now, in their pure, snowy, white embrace. So I'm going to hold each of those crystals. I'm going to now go into that deep state, my I am state, and I invite you, everyone, to come and join me, okay, as we're doing this beautiful letting go, clearing of the old, and welcoming the new light activation meditation. Okay, everyone. See now if it resonates to follow me. If you wish to be connected in the sacred space of this meditation we are to do now. This is a high mountain energy transmission. For where the mountains are as they are a forerunner. They're the carrier of the highest frequencies here on earth, because everything comes from the mountains first. All water that we drink comes from the mountains first. Mountains are a high energy vortex. A portal where we are now together collectively as this group body doing this activation, shifting our consciousness to. We breathe deeply a couple of times together. We may feel guided to close our eyes or not, all is well. We can meditate with open eyes as well. We see ourselves now in our own sacred space of the mountains. It can be anywhere here on this earth or not on earth. It can be also in the etheric spaces. We see our own mountaintop and we're above it. We're on the top of the world, and we now feel what the mountains are all about and what energy they share with us, what messages they have in store for us, what they're teaching us. We invite ourselves in their sacred embrace We feel the light coming there, in the sacred spaces from the energy portals. We feel all the light beings there. We greet them and we welcome their presence as they welcome ours. We each envision a beautiful mountain peak in our own creation design. For instance, I am seeing a mountain top where I was yesterday, standing boldly in the wind, moving my body in the different directions. We feel and see that we are alone on this mountain and that this solitude is here for a reason. We see how we need this solitude to welcome, to remember, and to finally embrace again our own I Am Presence, our teacher, our inner teacher, a gateway to our inner tuition, known to us as our intuition. We smell the breath of fresh air. We welcome the snow. And we see that within each fraction of the snow, of the air, of the clouds up in the sky, the beautiful blue sky, there's company. So this solitude is not loneliness. We feel now that we have opened ourselves to our I Am Presence, but we are not alone. We're merged with all the creation, all the fractions of it, all the variation of it. Oh, this is such a joy, such bliss, and such splendor, as we are truly feeling our reunion with all that is. We feel now how this is and how everything starts to unfold from the highest peaks at first, until it is carried downwards into the valley and everywhere else, shared with everything else. But we now wish to experience how it is on that high mountain top, on the peak, how it is to actually feel the truth from the above, the higher universal truth, the highest consciousness there is, the consciousness of divine love, the consciousness of our diamond heart that the mountains always share with us. So we see ourselves now sitting on this peak, surrounded by snow and the glow of the eternal never-ending skies, the blue and the shiny gold from the sun, present here with us, never separate, always one. And we ask the mountain top to share with us the story of its isolation and why it never feels lonely, how it is on this peak. And we try to feel this feeling. We try to see this. We try to imagine ourselves that we are just the same as this peak, isolated but not alone. Because when we look a bit further, we see so many other mountaintops everywhere, and variations of clouds forming in the sky. And we see this. We are not alone, but we are basking in our own sunlight. The sun has a different light when it actually glows around our mountaintop. Its refracted light is different than at the outer mountaintops. But together they're forming a beautiful rainbow spiral light. And now we finally feel how important it is to be unique, to go within, to be alone but never separate. We are one with all the rest of the mountaintops, but we are individual and unique, and how everything is within. And when we feel this, our letting go process, our rebirthing process of clearing out the old can begin. We ask now the consciousness of the mountains of the builders of form within the divine plan of perfection, the family of Elohim, to assist us now within removing all that no longer serve us in this plan of our divine perfected self, our universal I Am Presence, the divine love that we are. We breathe this plan for our I Am, and we see all that is not a part of this plan going away. And it is going away from our core. Our beautiful shiny diamond is being crystalline. It's pulsating as clear, shiny and pure, and we see the purity that we actually are in truth. The mountains, the sun, and the sky are assisting us with this. The family of Elohim is assisting us with this. The builders of perfected form, built through divine love, powerful intent of the Heavenly Mother and Father, to the breaths of divine love. All the other beings of light are here with us as well, all the angels and archangels, and especially the presence of the Holy Spirit, which is always so felt up there in the mountains, because they're carriers of the divine Mother Essence, of the creation force that is the life force that we are. So breathing this, letting go energy that is flowing through us, rushing through our body, through every cell, through every old program, through every old thought and belief that no longer serves within our divine plan of perfection. On our journey here, we feel the life of purity that we actually are, the life that we are always deserving as children of God, Goddess. And we actually see this path. It is the same crystal as the light that is reflecting itself from the snow. White is all light. White is all color. White is all that is. And white, you can see mirrors of everything. So when we look deeply inside our inner self, our inner guide, our inner teacher and master, we ask, what is there most here needing purification right now? What do I need to let go of most right now? Is it control? Is it desire to judge? Is it desire to strive for perfection that comes out of that control? Is it lack of balance? Is it pushing ourselves too hard? Is it not seeing ourselves for who we truly are? What is it? What is calling out to us to be made whole again, as it is in truth always? Because we're always a part of that diamond core, never separate. There is unity and oneness in our being. And it's only us who get to decide where we place our consciousness. There is no good and bad. There is only source infused, or less source infused. So, what is it that is needed for our attention right now? What needs our illumination? What needs our awakening and our truth for the destiny that is within the divine plan of perfection for us? See it now imprinted within. Call it out, or let it call you. All you have to do is be and permeate it with the light of your being, for you are only love divine. So breathe through that is calling out to you. See it illuminated through the golden light of the sun, through the white light of all that is, of all creation, and your inner I Am, your closest, your deepest teacher. Decide now to let that go and see how it is important for you to always go within in any given situation, in any given matter, for this is the only thing that brings forth growth, illumination, and perfection that you are. You are the one, but you have to give yourself back this power of the inner. Only through divine remembrance it can be restored again, and through the light perfected of your diamond shiny crystal. Mountains are assisting you with that. The sun is assisting you with that. The endless eternal skies are assisting you with that. And through that, you're bridging heaven and earth with that rainbow light refracted from the white. As you breathe even deeply, you see that no longer serves being cleared away. And you see now how this activation from all those divine beings assisting us in the high energy vortex portals in the mountains are assisting us with that and making us aware that we always need to go within first. No matter how the outer appears, it is always about the inner. It is about us and our own path, of our own pondering, of our own awakening and our own shift that starts within, individually. We embrace ourselves in this white light of the snow surrounding us, and we see that we are the same white purity that the snow is. We have the same shining qualities, and there is no need to control. Like the snow, it falls, and the heavens allows it to fall. It is the same with our lives. We stop when we need to stop. We rest when we rest. And we're active when we need to go further. And as we join and embrace with our I Am Presence, we vow upon always listening to that inner teacher first and foremost, for it knows beyond anything else. We're always and eternally embracing that letting go that our teacher provides us. Always in flow, always in grace, always in the will greater than our own, as we surrender. And that is the key word to our own inner purity. Surrender to all, for we are all. Breathe again that light of your new purified self, and smell the smell of the freshly fallen snow, and bask yourself in that light, in that color, in that tone, and that sound, and that high frequency that is you. Thank you, mountain. Thank you, sky. Thank you, the sun. Thank you, all creation within all that is. Namaste, and thanks to all of you as well for watching. And as always, we are in it together, and we are forming a wonderful, beautiful group body that has its effects mirrored and reflected backwards everywhere. So stay connected, and much love until I do another light activation or video. Bye bye.